Welcome. Today we've got Angela Steele, who's the CEO of Carat USA, and you're working from home in Michigan, outside the Detroit area, I gather. And who are your working partners? Who are you working with locally?
Well, I'm working remotely with my children and my husband. They tend to pop in the background on occasion, so I have them with me, and they're good little co-workers, and they keep me on my toes. In addition to my team here in the U.S. that we're staying in touch with very closely, just on videos just like this one.
Excellent. And maybe tell us a little bit about your role, because you've got an expansive role overseeing the U.S. Tell us, how that works and where the tentacles go out to.
Yeah, so I oversee Carat, which is the largest media agency inside of Dentsu Aegis Network. We are scaled across the U.S. with offices in New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, and some of our largest clients include Microsoft, Procter & Gamble, Pfizer, General Motors, to name a few. So we work with a lot of large-scaled clients. Carat, although we are the media agency, and that is our dedicated role within Dentsu Aegis Network, we tend to not only service our clients for media, but we're bringing in many of the other capabilities of Dentsu Aegis Network. So you use the word tentacle, which I think is a great word, because we have tentacles into many of the other Dentsu agencies. There aren't many of our client assignments that don't include some of our sister agencies, like Poster Scope for Out of Home, iProspect for Search and Social, Merkle bringing in data and analytics capabilities. So we really do have a lot of tentacles with all of our client relationships.
That's great. I think I'm going to see that in the next campaign magazine article, the tentacles around the world and more disciplines, by Angela Steele. Speaking about publications, you've been Campaign Magazine's Female Frontier honoree, and I think you were once a Media Post All-Star at one time as well. And what kind of makes you the All-Star, and what's some of the unique capabilities of Carat too in terms of really driving opportunity and success for clients?
Yeah, I think one of the things that really differentiates us as Carat, and that's contributed to our success over the last couple of years, is that we were one of the first agencies to lean into this people-based movement that everyone is now talking about, but we were early pioneers of that, and we were the first ones to have capability. We made the Merkle acquisition, meaning Dentsu, not Carat directly, but that the network made that acquisition 3 or 4 years ago now, long before other holding companies were making that move. And we transformed our product offering to include those data-enabled capabilities. Very early on, before being the CEO of Carat, I was the CSO of Carat. And the job that I was given at that time, 3 years ago, was go figure out how we integrate all of this capability into our end-to-end solution as Carat. So that's what we started doing, and I think that's made a big difference for us in our client relationships and also on the new business front. But what that really allows us to do is help our clients better understand the needs and the motivations of their customers, and then show up in the right way according to that. So that's really been at the heart of our success for the last few years, and I think you see that in some of the RECMA rankings and things like that.
Excellent. And what would be some of the successful tips for keeping the teams connected and the clients connected these days?
It's, a lot of what you read out there is true. It's much more frequent communication, because you can't rely on bumping into someone on your way to get a coffee or on your way to get your lunch. Like you have to create those moments of interactions. So we are doing many weekly or even more frequent video check-ins. We're doing weekly town halls with everyone in our agency. It's 1,000 people across the country, and we're doing those weekly. We're doing our executive team at least that often, and then we have a core steering committee that's meeting almost daily. So it's keeping those connections and keeping that video interaction so that people feel connected. But it's interesting because given that we have 5 offices around the country, I've actually found that through the last 4 weeks, I feel much more in touch with our office and all of our offices, because we are using these mechanisms to stay connected, but it's actually keeping me more connected than I ever would have been had I still been going into the office in New York, as an example, because now I'm getting to see people from all over the country on a weekly basis, which with physical travel, you can never cover that many people in 5 different offices at that time. So the irony of the physical distancing is that the virtual togetherness is much greater. I feel so much more connected to our people than I had before this started. So I think that's one unintended benefit of working this way. And also it's kind of fun having one-on-ones like this. I feel like I've been in everyone's home. I know what their studies look like. I know what their living rooms look like. I know what their dining rooms look like. So I get to see how and where people live. And we have this, it's much more of a personal connection. And then sometimes we have pets that make special guest appearances. Children. So I feel much more personally connected to the agency having worked this way.
Excellent. And clients, so what are they saying? We know that during downturns, people that cut back on spending have a tough time climbing up. That's been the traditional. Of course, this is a very non-traditional, unprecedented situation that we're all going through. What are your clients saying, Angela, and what are you saying to them?
Yeah, it's this is something that's really very category specific in terms of how clients are responding to this. I mean, first and foremost, all of our clients, we have the fortune of working with very large clients and sophisticated brand marketers who know the fundamentals of the importance of keeping brands top of mind during periods like this. So the majority of our clients are continuing some level of brand presence during this time. Where it's the most challenging are in places where people just simply are not able to engage or buy from the brands, like airlines and travel are really difficult right now. But we're very fortunate because we have a broad portfolio of clients, and some clients are booming right now. CPG is doing very well. Pharma is doing very well. So we have technology is doing very well. So it's a time of, I think it's really category specific. And it's funny, when this all first started about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were given guidance from analysts inside of Dentsu in terms of what we should be projecting and what they expect we will be seeing from clients based on the vertical and the category that they're in. And that has proven out to be true almost to a T. That this really is something that is vertical or category specific. And I think part of that is because this isn't really due to something that happened in the economy. It's due to a health crisis. So a lot of our clients are very hopeful that things will come back, and many of them use the words roaring, like this is going to come roaring back. We're going to come back with a vengeance. And they've told us as Carat, they need us to be ready to come back as soon as they are able to come back. So I think, unlike a typical economic downturn, when things come back, they will come back stronger. Of course, there will be some lag times because of how we'll come out of the health crisis, but I think it will be directly tied to that versus anything else underlying.
Astute observations, and evidently the Dentsu folks that were doing the early analysis seem to be smart and astute as well. We find the same thing in out of home. The fundamentals are great. Some of the shift now has gone more to pharma, more to supermarkets, more to the point of care. A lot of our members in hospitals, and especially the specialists, while general internists are not as busy, the specialists stay that way. What advice would you give to media owners these days as they're kind of moving their way through this situation?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of them is like flexibility. Please be flexible with our clients, and we ourselves are being very flexible with our clients. And I think that's the thing they need most of all. They will come back faster if they know there is flexibility. And some of them are looking out a couple of months from now and are wanting to start those campaigns back up in June. And they want to start planning that, but they need the flexibility to be able to shift depending on what happens. I think that's the number one thing for media owners is just be as flexible as possible, because clients are operating with the best intentions and agencies on their behalf. We want to come back, and if we can, we will. But if there isn't that flexibility, they will be more hesitant. So that's the number one thing.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be connected, if not physically, and we need to be aligned and connected in many ways, not only emotionally, but visually and connected, like you said. What, we had a lot of momentum here in the out-of-home business for the past 3 years. Of course, we're on pause a little bit for the moment. What have been some of your observations about the out-of-home business pre and post this issue?
Yeah, I mean, pre this issue, it was I think it was the highest growth channel for us, and not just us, but for the industry. It was really driven by digital out of home and the programmatic capabilities. And I opened by talking about people-based capabilities that's inherent within that. So that was an area that we were seeing tremendous growth in. And again, I think this is similar to the whole situation. This is driven by a health issue, and as soon as that starts to resolve itself, people are going to be dying to get out of their homes, and they're going to be so eager to get out there and go places, and maybe not be in large crowds, but just get out of the house and go do things, and have a meal in a restaurant again, and have a glass of wine at a bar. So I think I think out of home is going to continue to enjoy the benefits that it was a couple of months ago. It's just all tied to this health crisis.
And in terms of going forward with Carat and Dentsu, Wendy Clark is joining, an amazingly talented business leader, client side, agency side, vim and vigor, enthusiasm and intelligence. Is everybody excited for her arrival?
People are buzzing. There's been so much excitement this week. It was actually really great timing for news like that, because we all needed a little bit of a pick-me-up. So it's tremendous news. She is a force. She has a tremendous reputation. Everyone is really excited. We just wish we didn't have to wait till September for her official start date. We could really use leadership like that during this time. But people are really excited, and I think it's a new era for Dentsu, and we're really looking forward to it.
Well, Angela, you also provide a lot of great leadership by what you've told us today and how you're leading your teams. What's leading you? What's inspiring you at these kind of at-home moments that keeps you kind of going on maybe a bit more of a personal level?
Yeah, this is going to sound really cliche, but it's the honest truth. I almost every day, sometimes a couple times a day, I will get a note from someone I don't know. Someone who is just in the agency that I haven't met before. They may sit in a remote office, they may sit in New York, but it's someone I haven't had the chance to meet, who will send me a note and say, thank you for the town halls you've been providing. Thank you for the open communication. And those kinds of things make it all worthwhile. And that's honestly what keeps me going, is to know that it's making a difference for our people, and to be able to hear from people who in normal circumstances, I don't know that they would reach out to me and introduce themselves and say anything. But this has created a new way of working where I think it makes us all feel more accessible, and people feel like they can reach out. And that's when I get one of those, it gets me through the whole day. So I think that's really the source of inspiration right now.
Well, I clearly see that Angela and Carat and Dentsu and the whole network is going to be roaring back from some of the leadership and thoughts that you've demonstrated. Some great takeaways here. I think we've got people-based movement has been successful for you and will continue that way. I think your ability to connect to people outside of HQ has been demonstrated, and sounds like it's very important. And you're reaching out to all the tentacles with kind of a long tail approach. And like you said, a lot of these great methods you're developing now will continue after. So thank you for joining us today for DPAA Short Connects, another great leader in the ad world. And thank you